at 6.
Tonight, police investigating what led to a shooting here in a Harvest neighborhood. I'm WAAY 31 reporter Paige Meyer live with the details straight ahead.
Well, some showers will be rolling through this evening, and on it to tonight, I'll track out the rain and some colder weather to come on the way in your forecast.
Thanksgiving and turkeys go hand in hand, but fire safety should also be top of mind. We'll explain why. Happening now, the Madison County Sheriff's Office is working a shooting investigation in a Harvest neighborhood tonight. Good evening and thanks for joining us for WAAY 31 News at 6. I'm Tori Dunnan. WAAY 31 reporter Paige Meyer now joining us live from the scene with more on what happened, Paige.
Tori, police have been on the scene here on Hammond Road in the Harvest Meadows community for more than 5 hours now. Now, neighbors tell me they heard more than 10 gunshots ring out here earlier this afternoon. But deputies tell us right now that this appears to be an isolated incident. Now, I just talked with a spokesperson with HEMC who tells me they received a call at 12:20 this afternoon for a potential gunshot victim. Now, when HEMC responded to the scene, the patient was no longer there. We're told the ambulance picked up the victim down the road and transported him to Huntsville Hospital with a gunshot wound. Now, that victim has since been released from the hospital. Now, this is still an ongoing investigation. Police are still on the scene here investigating, trying to piece together what led to the shooting that took place here earlier today. Now, we will bring you any updates that we get both on air and online at WAAYTV.com. Reporting live in Harvest with coverage you can count on. Paige Meyer, WAAY 31 News.
A Florida doctor accused of causing a Shoals man death by accidentally removing his liver instead of his spleen is no longer licensed to practice in Alabama now. 7-year-old William Bryan died back in August following what was supposed to be a splenectomy. Bryan's autopsy revealed he was instead missing his liver. That doctor, Thomas Shankowski, had been licensed in Alabama since 2016. We turn now to the weather. Some areas will see some of those showers tonight. That's ahead of a cool down tomorrow. So let's check in with Jeff for a look at what we can expect as we get closer to the holiday. And then beyond that, Jeff, it is cold.
It is looking very, very cold as we close out November and head into December. More details on that in just a few minutes. We do have some rain that we're going to have to get through first this evening ahead of the first push of some cooler air, which will bring a temperature change compared to what we've had today across the area tomorrow. Right now, WAAY 31 triple Doppler showing some showers lined up. Parts of Limestone County near Athens. Rogersville, you've got some rain. We've got some showers one side or the other of Florence and Muscle Shoals, and this is the beginning of what is going to turn into a wet evening heading into the early part of tonight. The good news is rain will come and go rather quickly for most of us, and we will be back to dry weather again for your Tuesday. But don't expect to see temperatures like this tomorrow. In fact, we will be likely stuck in the 50s heading through your Tuesday. Right now, 68 in Huntsville, still close to 70 in Muscle Shoals and Florence, 67 in Decatur. We've got numbers still running into the low 60s over towards Fort Payne at this hour. And here's a view outside. Indicator, dry streets for the moment there in the River Cities. We look at our Thompson Roofing and Construction Skycam. But here in the next few hours, and do expect to see some wet weather moving through that part of Morgan County as well. In fact, you see the rain chances really ramping up between now and 10 o'clock tonight. They'll start to go down late evening and again on into tomorrow morning, returning to dry weather. But the north wind returns. We had a southerly breeze today. That northerly wind bringing the temperatures down back into the 40s by the time you step out tomorrow morning, and not expecting them to warm up a whole lot from there on your Tuesday. Back in a few moments. The 50s tomorrow may feel good compared to what's coming this weekend. I'm tracking even colder weather on the way by then coming up in your forecast.
Well, don't let the weather ruin your Thanksgiving plans. Take out your phone, open the camera, and hold it up to the screen. That'll help you download the only North Alabama weather app with 3 live Dopplers spanning across the region. It is free to download. New at 6, bringing people together from all across the Rocket City. Village of Promise hosted its annual One Table Huntsville event. That was for the 6th year. The organization says the community meal represents one meal, one day, one table, and one city.
One Table Huntsville is an event that we've had for 6 years now to bring the community together over a Thanksgiving meal to just share, to fellowship, to share our experiences, to enjoy the meal together, and to be a community.
Village of Promise says the goal of the event is to bring people from all walks of life together to give thanks, foster connections, create unity, and also celebrate diversity. A local nonprofit wants to make sure everyone gets a good Thanksgiving meal. Downtown Rescue Mission is giving away hundreds of turkeys along with food boxes ahead of the holiday. Tomorrow's giveaway will run from 9 until noon at their location there on Evangel Drive. Organizers say they need donations to support services like this all the time.
We do this all year round, so all the food that's donated goes to help us give food out and helps us feed people here at the mission.
Nonprofit will also host its annual Thanksgiving banquet on Wednesday and Thursday. The community meal will run from 11 until 1 on both of those days. It is Thanksgiving week, of course, and now is a good time for a reminder from first responders about fire safety. Decatur Fire and Rescue tells us they do see an uptick in fires around this time of year. They say that's due to careless mistakes, oftentimes in the kitchen. WAAY 31 weekend anchor Rob Sneed is in Decatur with more on how to keep your family safe.
Folks here at the Decatur Fire Department tell me that the message of fire safety is often ignored, but they say it's important to follow those guidelines to protect your family and keep your home safe. This is a scary sight for many, but Lieutenant Brendan Sievely with Decatur Fire and Rescue say mistakes like this happen quite often around Thanksgiving. Someone making the mistake of deep frying a frozen turkey.
Just, man, the way it expands and pushes that oil out, and then of course the oil meeting the flame, and that's a huge no-no. So.
He says to avoid burning your home down, only deep fry turkeys that are completely thawed, and never do it indoors. He also says keep kids and pets away from hot surfaces. They can easily knock over pots or pans on the stove. As cold temperatures move into our area and temperatures drop, Sievely also suggests not to use old or damaged space heaters. Do not overload electrical outlets, and have a fire extinguisher handy and know how to use it. And he also says it's very important to keep your chimneys clean.
Absolutely. So highly encourage you, if you're using a wood burning fireplace, make sure your chimney's clean and make sure the flue is open. That's a huge mistake people make. They forget about opening that flue, and then smoke fills the house, and it's chaos. And I'm told that the Decatur Fire Department does give away free smoke detectors. So if you do need one, all you have to do is just call and ask for one. And Decatur, with coverage you can count on. Rob Sneed, WAAY 31 News.
More cooking fires happen on Thanksgiving than any other day. That's according to the National Fire Protection Association. Last year, State Farm paid more than $237 million for grease fire claims. About 150 of those fires were in the state of Alabama. If you're cooking on Thanksgiving, be sure to check on the food on a regular basis. Keep items that can catch fire, things like oven mitts, wooden utensils, food packaging, and towels away from the stovetop, and keep a fire extinguisher nearby. It's also important, though, to practice food safety when cooking. USDA now reminding you that when you're shopping for a turkey, add it to your cart last so that it doesn't get too warm. They also ask for you to check and make sure the packaging isn't torn. The USDA says that food becomes unsafe due to bacterial growth and has to be thrown out after sitting at room temperature for about 2 hours' time. Well, don't forget to keep your furry friends safe this holiday, too. The Colbert County Animal Shelter just published these guidelines here for what types of table foods dogs can and cannot have. Make sure to keep onions, ham, garlic, and stuffing away from dogs, but they can have things like turkey with no skin, corn, sweet potatoes, green beans, and pumpkin. Building up a resistance to the antibiotics that are supposed to treat it, why global health leaders are now sounding a warning on antimicrobial resistance.
And we've been alerting you to the chill on the way. We are getting ever so close to the coldest weather of the season coming in by early December. I'll have an updated look at how far those temperatures are going to be dropping coming up in your forecast.
Coverage you can count on. This is WAAY 31 News at 6 with Tori Dunnan, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle, and Sports with Max Cohen.
Officials are calling this an urgent global health threat. Antimicrobial resistance happens when germs no longer respond to the drugs that were designed to kill them. That makes it harder and sometimes impossible to treat infections. Mandy Gaither has more on what you need to know and how to help prevent infections that can put you at risk.
It's a growing threat. In the U.S., more than 2.8 million antimicrobial resistant infections happen every year, killing more than 35,000 people, according to a 2019 CDC report.
It's this growing progression of antimicrobial resistance that makes it one of the greatest global health issues of modern time.
Dawn Sievert with the CDC says to fight this threat, antibiotic and antifungal prescribing and use needs to improve. The agency says families should also take steps to reduce risk and help stop the germs from spreading. Keep cuts clean and covered until healed. Take good care of chronic conditions like diabetes or heart disease. Keep hands clean and get vaccinated. The CDC says vaccines help prevent infections, including ones that are resistant.
The modern travel of people, animals, and goods antimicrobial resistance can easily spread.
Sievert says the phenomenon also has the potential to affect anyone regardless of age and health status and can complicate nearly every health problem a person faces. Since advances in modern medicine depend greatly on antibiotics being effective, she says it can put certain surgeries like cancer therapy at risk.
Patients requiring these procedures and treatments are at significant risk for infection, but they might not be able to receive the needed care if antibiotics are not available.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The CDC says antimicrobial resistance is already impacting all regions worldwide, and it's now a leading cause of death globally, with the highest burden being on low and middle income countries.
Now, WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle with 31 Triple Doppler.
We're already starting to see some of that rain, right?
We are, and this will be the beginning of what will probably turn out to be a wet evening. But the good news is rain will be gone by the time you get ready to head out tomorrow morning.
That's quick.
Yeah, we're just going to be tracking some cooler weather for you Tuesday, and then even colder weather, very cold on the way. By the time we hit through the weekend, let's talk about that temperature outlook. We've been telling you about this for a little while, that this was on the way, and nothing is really changing. Looks like a couple pushes of Arctic air coming right at us out of Canada is going to be infiltrating the eastern portion of the U.S. in the coming days. That includes us here in the Tennessee Valley. This is the temperature outlook for the first 5 days of December. Strong signal, it's going to be colder than average. Now that average this time of year is still around the 60-degree mark. We're likely talking about numbers in the 40s for several days on end, starting this weekend and continuing through the first half of next week. So get ready, it is on the way, and we are going to need to bundle up as we take you past that Thanksgiving holiday. That is when the really chilly air is going to come on in. This is where it is right now. Temperatures in the single digits above and below zero. This is the state of Alaska. It's actually warmer there than it is across northwest Canada. You can see some places running below zero, so this is going to be some very cold air getting ready to push into the lower 48, and we're going to get a taste of it here in the Tennessee Valley as well. It's not going to be below zero. We don't have to worry about that, just being that we're so far south. But 40s will become common starting this weekend. Only 48 Saturday, only 46 on Sunday, and the mornings, as you would expect, will be quite cold, getting down into the 20s beginning this weekend and likely staying in that range into early next week. We're kind of focused on Monday. That may be the coldest that we see out of this initial cold snap of the season. And you can see next Monday morning, temperatures down into the low end of the 20s, and it's possible some of you here in southern Middle Tennessee may dip into the teens. So we'll keep you updated on that bitterly cold air that's coming on in as we get a little bit closer. Before we get there, there is going to be a little rain to track. We've already got some of that showing up here. WAAY 31 Triple Doppler, mostly out in the northwest corner of the state. We'll focus in a little closer using our live radar in Muscle Shoals. You'll see some showers there near Elkmont, back to the northwest of Athens and northwest Limestone County, eastern Lauderdale County near Anderson, tracking some rainfall. Colbert County, Littleville, some sprinkles now, but there are some heavier showers just to your west that will be passing into parts of town, especially headed north up towards the Muscle Shoals area. So just be prepared for some wet weather if you're going to be out and about this evening, as we do expect the rain to expand over the next couple of hours. We'll put things into motion here with future radar. Here's 8 o'clock tonight. Showers lined up from Fayetteville to Athens, back towards the Shoals. So basically where it's raining now, it's going to continue. We take you towards about 10 o'clock this evening. That's when we're expecting the bulk of the wet weather from Huntsville back towards the Decatur area. And within this, there could be some heavier downpours. Not expecting any potential for severe weather, but again, some heavier rainfall at times out of this. Midnight tonight, those heavier showers, parts of Marshall, DeKalb County. And then it's going to kick out of here in time to head out the door Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. tomorrow. We're dry, some clouds to start the day, but we will break those up by the lunch hour, and we are expecting to see a good bit of sun for you Tuesday afternoon. Don't be fooled, though. It's not going to be a mild day like today. Temperatures will be a good bit cooler than what we saw earlier this afternoon. We do drop into the 40s overnight tonight, through the day tomorrow, only expecting to warm up into the 50s, 56 for Rainsville, same for Huntsville, 55 in Athens, 56 Town Creek, and only 57 out towards the Shoals. WAAY 31 Storm Tracker 10-day forecast has another shot at rain late Wednesday night into early Thanksgiving morning, and then that is followed by the big temperature drop. 60s Wednesday, and then that's as good as it's going to get for a while. Only in the 40s on Friday, and we stay there over the weekend and through the first half of next week. And look at those cold mornings on the way with temperatures dropping back into the 20s for those overnight lows starting this weekend and continuing on into next week. So December, which is the beginning of meteorological winter, will certainly remind us of that in the days going ahead.
And then we'll have to see what happens.
We'll have
after
to see
that,
what happens.
right?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the beginning of
Yeah.
the coldest months of the year. We'll see what else winter throws at us as we head through.
Max?
Iron Bowl week is upon us. Hear from Kalen DeBoer and Hugh Freeze as their teams prepare for the biggest game of the season. Next in sports.
Now, WAAY 31 Sports with Max Cohan.
The biggest week of the year is finally upon us. No matter which side you stand on, the Saturday after Thanksgiving is only about one thing, the Iron Bowl. This year, it's a similar situation to what we've seen the last few seasons. Alabama is gunning for a playoff spot, and Auburn is trying to play spoiler, but things are a little bit different this year. Alabama doesn't look like the powerhouse we've come to expect, and the Tigers are coming in with some momentum, having defeated a ranked Texas A&M squad in quadruple overtime on Saturday night. That game gave Auburn win number 5 on the season, and even though their best case scenario is to finish the regular season at 500, Hugh Freeze knows winning this game could change more than their record.
There's no bigger game on the schedule to set in this seat, and to lose one like we did last year still doesn't set right. And I know that the Auburn faithful have had to endure that, and you know, we want to change that feeling in this building and for our great fan base in this state. And you know, it's a tall task. You know, their roster is deeper. But it was deeper last year too, and we had a shot to win it. So got to find a way to keep ourselves in it and give us a chance to win and try to change that and hopefully start making that a regular expectation.
Now keep in mind, Auburn hasn't won an Iron Bowl since 2019, and they haven't won in Tuscaloosa since the comeback in 2010. And in Tuscaloosa, this game feels a whole lot different than it did last week. Just last Friday, Alabama had a clear path to the SEC championship game. Just beat Oklahoma and Auburn, and it's off to Atlanta. But after a nightmare in Norman, Alabama is in danger of missing out on the playoff. Now, nothing seemed to go right for the Tide against the Sooners as they were held without a touchdown for the first time since 2011, suffering their third loss for the first time since 2010. And while many would argue that this season is not up to the Bama standard, Kalen DeBoer knows losing this game is not an option.
365 days of the year, ever since I've been here, I think I hear about it every day, and so understand what it means and the excitement, and we have to put and learn from last week and be better because of it, and turn the page and get ready to practice tomorrow and do everything we can to be successful on Saturday.
Now, one interesting thing about this year's game is that neither coach has won the Iron Bowl before. We'll see who can get there first on Saturday at 2:30. And don't forget, you can watch the Iron Bowl right here on WAAY 31. So safe to say, a lot of people around the state are excited.
Yes.
Should we be excited about the weather for the Iron Bowl?
You're going to be cold.
I know I'm going to be cold.
Yeah, it's going to be, of course, cold around here. It'll be chilly down there as well. But at least it looks like it's going to be dry. So just dress warm enough. You'll be fine. We've got some rain out there this evening. You saw a little bit more coming in as we head into Thanksgiving. I'll have updates on both in your forecast coming up tonight at 10 o'clock. If you want to keep up with the radar, you can do that. WAAY 31 Triple Doppler on the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app with showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder coming through this evening.
All right, so we've got to deal with the rain.
Yep.
And then the cold weather.
And then the cold. A lot going on
All
this
right.
week for sure.
We'll make sure to watch. Hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you back here a little bit later on. Thanks so much for watching, and you can always check us out online and on our app as well, as Jeff said.